Thank you, Mr. Vladeck. We appreciate your testimony. Thank you, Senator Padilla.
Thank you. Just following up on that, I mean, is there agreement among the three of you that dealing with forum shopping would be beneficial for the judiciary and for the strength of the rule of law? Do all of you agree on that?
Yes, but it would only solve part of the problem.
Oh, I understand that, but it would be worthwhile. Professor Vladeck, you said that. How about you, Mr.?
Excuse me. I think plaintiffs, if they have the ability to file a lawsuit in a district, should be able to do that. I think the incentive for forum shopping is that you think you can get a judge who can be a ruler for the whole nation. So fix the problem of judges overreaching their power, and you'll.
So you're okay with forum shopping, just so I understand.
Well, it depends what you mean by that, Senator.
I mean,
if you mean plaintiffs choosing
where you file, and what lawyer wouldn't do that? Where you think you can win?
Well, there's all kinds of reasons why lawyers choose to file in different districts. It could be because
I
think
I got your answer.
But judges
two against to reform that, and one thinks it's fine. The next thing, just this practical question of a class action lawsuit versus an individual suing. I mean, I'll ask you, Professor Bray, because you're talking about class actions, and I support class actions. There's been a lot of debate within the committee about whether they're useful or not, and a lot of pushback on the use of class actions. But there's an enormously increased burden on the plaintiffs in order to get class certification, is there not?
Senator, with respect, this bill, the chairman's bill, would leave class.
I'm not
actions.
asking about the chairman's bill. I'm just talking, I'm a lawyer. Somebody comes in. Birthright citizen is the claim. I'm a small town lawyer. That's what I was, White River Junction. I say, you know what, you're right. Let's take the case. I'll do it. But if I have to go get a class certified, just tell me the steps I have to go through for getting that class certification, as opposed to just taking my client who came into my White River Junction office, and we go to the federal district court in Burlington.
So class certification does require more steps, but it's entirely appropriate given that what you're seeking is a remedy to represent everyone.
No, I'm talking, I understand that it's appropriate. I'm just talking about what is the practical burden in terms of cost, in terms of what kind of legal power you have to have, as opposed to a single lawyer who has a single client who comes in to see me and wants relief. What's it going to cost for me to do a certification for class, as opposed to me just filing and paying the filing fee at the federal district court?
So I do agree, Senator, that there are more requirements, and that means more attorney hours and more costs.
Right.
So I agree with that. But it is also matches the scope of the relief sought. And so it really is a matter of
I get that, but there's an acknowledgement here that it's a much bigger deal. You know, one of the wonderful things about our justice system is that an individual who is harmed can come into a lawyer, and that lawyer may take it pro bono. But if you have to have the resources of a major firm, it's a much bigger uphill challenge to get your day in court. Second thing, you know, we've got a situation here with the courts that's unprecedented, and we've got a real debate on both sides of the aisle about who is weaponizing the court. I understand that. But do you, Professor Vladeck, have a view about whether the and by the way, let me just give a context. The context that we're in right now is the separation of powers in three co-equal branches of government. And my view is that the legislature is essentially ceding authority to the executive, and that that's very dangerous in the long run for the well-being of our democracy. That's my point of view. I'm not asking you whether you agree or don't. But I'll ask you, Professor Bray, what do you see as the impact on the rule of law when the executive orders the Justice Department to dismiss a corruption case against the mayor of New York City in order to get his cooperation on a executive policy on immigration?
The rule of law applies to all three branches, and each one needs to act consistently with the law. That includes the executive, and also for the subject of the hearing today, that includes the courts. I am with you in thinking that it is an imperative for every branch.
I know that, but I'm talking something that real world. This happened. We got a major corruption case against the mayor of New York City, and it was dismissed for political reasons. Does that conform to your view of how the rule of law should operate?
No, it does not.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Welch.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
You know, I was struck by the questions on the law firms and the approach of President Trump to try and bring them back to the table of working with this administration. I found some of that ironic and the questioning, Mr. Panuccio, and welcome